For nearly 3 centuries, dragons ruled the skies of Westeros. They were symbols of power, fear, and fire, the greatest weapons of House Targaryen. From the mighty Balerion the Black Dread to the last hatchlings born during the Dance of the Dragons, each had their own story, their own rider, and their own fate. In this video, we'll explain every known dragon from the Targaryen era, their appearance, their riders, their greatest battles, and how they lived and died. This is the complete history of the dragons of House Targaryen. Did you know the biggest, most terrifying dragon in Westeros history once blackened the sky with his wings? His name was Balerion the Black Dread. He was so large, his shadow could swallow towns whole. His teeth were the size of swords. His fire? Black flame that could melt stone, castles, even Harrenhal. Balerion was the personal mount of Aegon the Conqueror, the king who united the 7 kingdoms. He helped forge the Iron Throne itself, burning his enemies and turning swords into slag. He lived nearly 200 years, longer than any other dragon. And in his final years, he was ridden one last time by a young Viserys Targaryen who would later become king. But by then, Balerion was old, scarred, and slow. He soon died of natural causes. His skull still sits in the Red Keep, a monument to a power the world may never see again. Even dragons feared Balerion. Did you know Vhagar was one of the most legendary dragons of House Targaryen? Bronze with green-blue highlights and bright green eyes, she was ridden by Queen Visenya during Aegon's conquest, alongside Balerion and Meraxes. Later, she was claimed by Prince Balon, Lady Laena Velaryon, and finally Prince Aemon Targaryen. Vhagar grew so massive that Tyrion Lannister once said a horse could ride down her gullet, and her flame was hot enough to melt a knight in his armor. By the Dance of the Dragons, she was nearly as big as Balerion once had been, the largest dragon of her time. At Storm's End, Aemond pursued Prince Lucerys Velaryon and his dragon Arrax into a storm over Shipbreaker Bay. There, Vhagar tore Arrax apart and Lucerys' body washed ashore days later, a brutal moment that began the bloodiest phase of the war. Did you know Meraxes was Queen Rhaenys Targaryen's dragon, one of Aegon the Conqueror's sister wives? With silver scales and golden eyes, Meraxes was said to be large enough to swallow a horse whole. Rhaenys loved flying her more than her siblings combined, and together they fought in the Field of Fire, where 4,000 men burned beneath Dragonflame. But their story ended in dawn. At Hellholt, a scorpion bolt struck Meraxes through the eye, sending the great she-dragon crashing to her death. Rhaenys also perished, though some whispered she lived as a captive. The loss scarred Aegon's reign, and Dorne remained unconquered, only joining the realm generations later through marriage. Did you know about Quicksilver, one of the forgotten dragons of House Targaryen? Quicksilver was a silver she-dragon with pale white fire, first bonded to Prince Aenys Targaryen, the son of Aegon the Conqueror. Though Aenys was frail and sickly, his health improved after claiming Quicksilver, and the two became inseparable. Later, Aenys' son, Prince Aegon, claimed her during his attempt to take back the Iron Throne from his uncle, King Maegor the Cruel. But Quicksilver was only a quarter the size of Maegor's massive Balerion the Black Dread. When the two dragons clashed above the god's eye, Balerion's black flames and brute strength overwhelmed Quicksilver. She was ripped apart in the sky, falling to her death with Prince Aegon, remembered as the uncrowned king. Dreamfyre was a slender she-dragon, pale blue with silver markings, first bonded to Princess Rhaena Targaryen, the granddaughter of Aegon the Conqueror. She was known for her grace and beauty, and by age 12, Rhaena was already riding her. Over the years, Dreamfyre laid multiple clutches of eggs, some of which were stolen by Alyssa Farman, and may have ended up across the sea. After Rhaena's death, Dreamfyre was housed in the Dragon Pit at King's Landing. During the reign of King Viserys I, she bonded with young Princess Helaena Targaryen, making Dreamfyre one of the most iconic dragons tied to the royal line. Did you know there's a massive dragon who's finally getting his moment in the new season of House of the Dragon? His name was Vermithor, the Bronze Fury. He was massive, rivaled only by the oldest and fiercest of the Targaryen dragons. Vermithor was the personal mount of King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, who ruled for over 50 years. Together they kept the realm in peace, not by war, but through quiet, overwhelming power. After the king's death, Vermithor had no rider. He settled on the volcanic slopes of Dragonstone, waiting. In House of the Dragon, we see him again, a sleeping giant, wild, dangerous, and unclaimed. By Season 2, bold men begin to seek him out. One of them is Hugh the Hammer, a blacksmith's bastard who dares to stand before the Bronze Fury. What comes next could change the war, but that is a tale for another season. Silverwing was the silvery she-dragon of House Targaryen, bonded to Queen Alysanne. She was famed for her gentle nature, even letting strangers approach, and often flew beside King Jaehaerys' dragon, Vermithor. Silverwing once tried to cross the wall, but refused every time, as if something beyond it unsettled her. After Queen Alysanne's death, she became riderless, until the Dance of the Dragons, when the dragon seed Ulf White successfully claimed her, making Silverwing one of the most important dragons of the war to come. Caraxes, known as the Blood Wyrm, was a lean red dragon famed for his ferocity. First claimed by Prince Aemon Targaryen, he was called the fiercest young dragon of the Dragon Pit. After Aemon's death, Prince Daemon Targaryen became his rider. Together they flew across Westeros and Essos, with Caraxes striking fear wherever he appeared. During the wars in the Stepstones, Daemon and Caraxes built their reputation in fire and blood. By the time of the Dance of the Dragons, Caraxes was a veteran of countless battles, a cunning and savage mount whose roar alone was enough to chill the blood of armies. Syrax was a yellow-scaled she-dragon, the personal mount of Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. Named after a Valyrian goddess, Syrax was claimed by Rhaenyra when she was only 7 years old, making her one of the youngest dragon riders in history. Though large and formidable, Syrax was not as battle-hardened as Caraxes, since she had been kept in chains and well-fed inside the Red Keep, rather than hunting freely. She laid several clutches of eggs during her life, and it's believed many of Rhaenyra's sons' dragons hatched from her. By the time of the Dance of the Dragons, Syrax was at her rider's side, ready to play a central role in the coming war. Meleys, known as the Red Queen, was a magnificent she-dragon with scarlet scales, copper horns, and pink wings. First claimed by Princess Alyssa Targaryen, she later bonded with Princess Rhaenys, the queen who never was. In her youth, Meleys was one of the swiftest dragons in Westeros, able to outpace even Caraxes and Vhagar. During the Dance of the Dragons, Rhaenys flew Meleys into battle for the Blacks. At Rook's Rest, the Red Queen fought fiercely against the Greens, unleashing fire upon Criston Cole's army before being ambushed in the skies by both Vhagar and Sunfyre. Outnumbered 2-1, Meleys still managed to nearly tear Sunfyre apart before all three dragons plummeted from the sky in one of the war's most legendary battles. Vermax was the dragon of Prince Jaehaerys Velaryon. He hatched from an egg placed in Jace's cradle and grew into a strong, temperamental dragon, said to dislike snow and cold. By the time of the Dance of the Dragons, Vermax was large enough to ride. Jaehaerys flew north on him as his mother's envoy, treating with the Arryns of the Vale, the Mandaleys of White Harbor, and the Starks of Winterfell. Vermax's presence proved Rhaenyra's sons were true dragon riders, helping to win vital allies in the war to come. Arrax was the dragon of Prince Lucerys Velaryon, described as pearlescent white with golden eyes and a golden chest. Smaller than Vhagar, he was still swift and fierce, bonded to Lucerys since the cradle. At the start of the Dance of the Dragons, Lucerys rode Arrax to Storm's End as an envoy to seek Lord Boros Baratheon's support. But there he found Prince Aemon Targaryen already waiting with the mighty Vhagar. After Boros refused Rhaenyra's offer, Lucerys tried to depart in a raging storm. Aemon pursued, and over Shipbreaker Bay, Vhagar and Arrax clashed in the thunder and lightning. Arrax was torn from the sky, his head and neck later washing ashore beneath Storm's End. Tyraxes was the pale violet dragon bonded to Prince Joffrey Velaryon, the third son of Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. Hatched from an egg placed in his cradle, Tyraxes grew alongside his rider, though he was smaller than his brothers' dragons, Vermax and Arrax. By the time of the Dance of the Dragons, Tyraxes was large enough to carry Joffrey on long flights, but still too young for battle. Joffrey loved him dearly and often begged to fight at his mother's side, though she forbade it. When Rhaenyra sent her sons to the Vale for safety, Tyraxes carried Joffrey to the Eyrie, proving himself swift and loyal, one of the younger dragons of House Targaryen. Moondancer was a young, slender she-dragon ridden by Lady Baela Targaryen, daughter of Daemon and Lyanna. Pale green with pearl horns and wing bones, she was quick and agile, though small compared to the great war dragons of her age. By the time of the Dance of the Dragons, Baela had begun training on Moondancer, flying her daily around Dragonstone and even to Driftmark. Though still no larger than a warhorse, Moondancer's speed and courage made her a fierce companion. When the Greens struck at Dragonstone, Baela escaped her chambers and saddled Moondancer, rising into the sky to meet her foes. Did you know Aegon II's dragon, Sunfyre, was called the most beautiful dragon ever seen in the known world? His golden scales gleamed like beaten gold in the sunlight, with pale pink wings and golden flame. Sunfyre's egg hatched on Dragonstone, though the exact year is unknown. He was described as a young dragon in 120 AC and was older than Tessarion. By then, Prince Aegon had already claimed him as his mount, and he was so devoted to Sunfyre that he took a golden dragon for his own personal sigil. During the Dance of the Dragons, Aegon rode Sunfyre into the Battle of Rook's Rest. There, Sunfyre fought Princess Rhaenys and her dragon Meleys. Sunfyre got terribly wounded, his wing torn apart. Too broken to fly, he lingered near Rook's Rest, but in time, against all odds, the golden dragon learned to fly again. Tessarion, known as the Blue Queen, was the beautiful she-dragon of Prince Daemon Targaryen, son of King Viserys and Queen Alicent. She had dark cobalt wings, bright copper claws and crest, and breathed striking blue flame. By the time of the Dance of the Dragons, Tessarion was the youngest of the fighting dragons, but swift and agile in the air. Daemon rode her into the battle on the Honeywine, where Tessarion's arrival turned the tide and saved the Hightower army. Though smaller than the great dragons like Vermithor and Vhagar, the Blue Queen was a symbol of the green strength, feared wherever her shadow passed. Seasmoke was a pale silver-grey dragon, first bonded to Sir Laenor Velaryon. After Laenor's death, he lived riderless for years on Dragonstone until the young dragon seed Adam of Hull managed to claim him. Unlike many failed attempts, Adam succeeded, perhaps due to his Velaryon blood. Seasmoke was quick and nimble in the air, said to be twice the size of Tessarion. During the Dance of the Dragons, he fought bravely for Rhaenyra's cause and became a symbol of how new dragon riders could rise in Westeros. Did you know Sheepstealer was one of the wild dragons of Dragonstone during the Dance of the Dragons? Mud brown in color, with flames said to be red or golden, he lived in the caverns of the Dragonmont and hunted sheep for over 70 years, earning his name from the small folk. Fierce and unclaimed, he was well over 50 years old when the war began, making him wild and dangerous. Yet against all odds, Sheepstealer was bonded by Nettles, a girl of humble birth counted among the dragon seeds. Unlike others who tried to claim dragons with whips and spears, Nettles simply brought him sheep every morning until he grew used to her. In time, the skinny brown girl and her skinny brown dragon became one of the most unlikely rider and dragon pairs in Targaryen history. Grey Ghost was one of the 3 wild dragons of Dragonstone during the Dance of the Dragons. Pale grey-white like morning mist, he was shy and avoided men, earning his name for how he vanished into clouds. Unlike other dragons, Grey Ghost preferred fish, often snatching them straight from the sea. He made his lair high on the Dragonmont and was never claimed by any rider, despite dragon seeds trying. In 130 AC, Grey Ghost's end came when he crossed paths with Sunfyre, Aegon II's golden dragon. Sunfyre killed and devoured him, proving even wild dragons could fall. Did you know there was one dragon even the Targaryens feared? They called him the Cannibal. He was massive. His scales were pitch black, darker than night, and his eyes glowed like burning embers. He had torn, jagged wings and a savage look, like something out of a nightmare. Cannibal lived on Dragonstone before the Targaryens arrived. He feasted on hatchlings, devoured dragon eggs, and killed other dragons. No one could tame him. No one even tried. During the Dance of the Dragons, Cannibal stayed wild. He didn't pick a side. But those who came near him, they never returned. A dragon older than legends, and still a mystery. What happened to Cannibal? Subscribe for more forgotten dragon lore. Stormcloud was the young dragon of Prince Aegon the Younger. Turquoise in color with black horns and claws, he hatched from the egg placed in Aegon's cradle at birth. During the Dance of the Dragons, Prince Jacaerys Velaryon sent Aegon and his brother Viserys across the narrow sea for safety. Aegon brought Stormcloud, while Viserys carried only a dragon egg. But their ship was attacked in the gullet by the forces of the Triarchy. In the chaos, Aegon mounted Stormcloud for the first time, flying desperately back to Dragonstone. It was his first and only flight. Stormcloud arrived mortally wounded, pierced by arrows and a scorpion bolt. The young dragon died within the hour, and Aegon never flew again. Did you know in the books, Daenerys' dragons look completely different from the show? On HBO, Drogon, Rhaegal and Viserion all share the same design, just different sizes. But George R.R. Martin describes them as strikingly unique. Drogon has black scales slashed with vivid red, matching red wings and horns, and eyes like burning coals. He breathes fire that is black mixed with red. Rhaegal is green and bronze, with jade-green scales and wings, bronze eyes, black claws and teeth like needles, and flame of orange and yellow streaked with green. Viserion, the pale, white dragon, has cream-colored scales, black claws, molten gold eyes, and flame that is pale gold shot through with red and orange. In the books, they are not copies of the same design. Each dragon feels alive, distinct, and unforgettable. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of the dragons, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other lore videos. And now, let me ask you, which dragon is your favorite?